Many thanks for staying with us here on the show. This is still The Pulse. I'm going to have a very quick conversation with Disasters Network Ghana. This is a group of people who have come together to look at Ghana's response to disaster, etc. And if you recall, they seem to have come out a bit more strongly during the Sierra Leone disaster. I have with me Kofi Ankoma Hagan. Kofi, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Okay. Let me find out from you, first of all, your thoughts about what the minister has said about the situation.
Okay, what the minister said is what we've been hearing from all politicians when disaster strikes. But as a nation, as a people, I think we should do more, you know, in terms of disaster preparedness, and then in terms of prevention of disasters, and then even ways of mitigating effects when the inevitable happens. Right. So this is something we should take care of.
So what is Disaster Network Ghana's position at the Atomic Junction explosion? Are there any specific things that you expect government to do? A lot of people have spoken. People are asking government to, you know, maybe adjust the law. We understand that government, parliament, the president will be holding a cabinet meeting on Thursday, and then they're supposed to deal with this matter. As a network, let's find out from you, what will your expectations be of what they will come out with at that particular cabinet meeting?
We believe more laws will not help the situation. As a country, we have more laws, regulations, acts to ensure that we don't have some of these things happening anywhere at all. But it boils down to implementation, the political will. The minister himself was lamenting about a whole lot of issues when it comes to implementation. And then in the heat of the disaster also, I listened to JoyNews interview with Abu Ramadan, the Deputy National Coordinator of NADMO, who was also making such lamentation. He was even talking about a certain riverbed that encroaches.
That for you was unacceptable?
Very, very unacceptable.
Why?
It shows that we have an impotent government in place, a government that sees a disaster in the making and looks on, because when they try to take action from his own words, people come and tell them to put a human face to it. The disaster will not come with a human face. The disaster we saw at Atomic, they did come with a human face. So if we have a government or institutions that are more interested in human face, then it means this is going to continue to be a ritual as it has always been in Ghana, which is very, very sad.
So what for you as a network is the way forward?
I think that as I always say, disaster management, prevention should be an everyday and ongoing thing. You know, we are supposed to empower in terms of resources the necessary institutions and organizations like NADMO, like EPA, like MPA, FDA, and all that. They all come together, local government authorities and all of them. It should be everyday work. It shouldn't be something we sit down and wait when we are expecting rain, then we go. That knee-jerk approach will never help anybody, because we all know that these filling stations have routine visitations from NPA and FDA regularly to ensure that they are selling at the right prices. You understand? Every price window, that's 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, a team goes to ensure that whether it's been increased or reduced, the right prices are being charged. Those people do not rest. Why do the people who are supposed to ensure that the safety regulations are being maintained by these same filling stations and co not working? Why are they not working?
Okay. Have you heard anything about this the cost of this disaster?
Oh, this is obviously going to run into several millions of Ghana cedis.
No, not the cost. The cost.
The cost. Oh,
yes.
I've also heard about the Chichinga issue. It is very sad because from the chronology of events that we have followed, the tanker that was offloading its load actually started leaking. The people got to know of it. The people working at the fuel station got to know of it and started evacuating. But whilst they were evacuating, they forgot that they were not the only people who were going to be affected, but the adjoining people who were also selling. So I think a simple announcement with a megaphone to everybody around to, you know, just leave and then get naked fires away from the place would have saved this situation.
Okay.
But they just concentrated on probably their staff and then customers just within their vicinity, forgetting that other people have also, you know, undertaken certain economic activities that, you know, required naked fire. I saw in the debris, you know, fry yam, you know, somebody who fries yam, hot fire with oil, not just the Chichinga, a whole lot of people were there, even smokers, and it was just, you know, once you have this kind of gas, you know, hovering over the heads of people, then it's not just Chichinga seller. It could have been anybody with a naked fire as it's happened.
Let me ask you what we are to expect as a network that's seeking to be there and to try and help Ghana to be more disaster conscious and to prepare more towards it. Your final words on what we should expect from you, what Ghanaians should expect from you, even as we're all dealing with this particular fire, the explosion. What should Ghanaians expect from the disaster network, disasters network?
We, at the moment, what we do is liaise with NADMO. Wherever they are, we try to help them build their capacities and then also draw advocates for them. Because sometimes, because they are under whatever government is there, if they are having certain challenges, they are even afraid to come out to speak. So we advocate
because
for them.
Because they were all appointed politically?
Politically. This is the issue. We know NEDMO for a typical...
No, let's restrict it to what you expect from disaster network. Because okay. The issues of NADMO, if we want to go into whether at the moment, I'm not sure we have
so much,
good
yes.
time. Yeah.
So we will continue to do whatever we have been doing with the necessary resources. We will want to go out ourselves to handle education for, you know, people, especially people who try to do business that, you know, requires naked fire around fuel station. This is going on everywhere, where sometimes the fuel station owners themselves become victims, because when you try to, you know, push people away, you become the demon in the community who doesn't want the poor to eat. So we will continue to, you know, help educate people about, you know, their own safety and how to be able to avoid going close to such facilities.
Is there a specific plan at the moment for those who live in Medina and its environs because of what has happened? Do you have any specific plan as yet?
Whatever, we are there, but whatever plan we have should be nationwide, because today...
No, but do you have it? Is there a plan at the moment to, I mean, now you want the people of Ghana to have some sort of hope in you that you're going to help us deal with our disasters. So at this point, you're perhaps
what you are doing, just like anywhere else, is that place has been a time bomb waiting to explode, because you see the level of, it's like a market, it's like a filling station within a marketplace, and it is not acceptable. So everybody who is listening to me, if I'm sure by this time people are just thinking of how to clear the debris so that they go back and ply their trade. Please try and look elsewhere, because your lives really, really, really matter. These are, you know, people who do not who cannot even afford insurance, or even when they want to, go in for insurance companies reject their business because it's too risky. So they should be very, very, very alert and then help themselves as we also continue
Hagen,
to help.
thank you very much. Kofi and Kuma Hagen is with the Disasters Network Ghana, and they are a group that's emerging and trying to present themselves as a credible sort of alternative when it comes to disaster management support, capacity building. Thank you very much for passing through the studio. Well, so whilst we'll be talking about the cause of the fire, the Ghana National Fire Service is warning against speculations on the cause of the fire. The director in charge of public relations, Biliana Glate, has dismissed suggestions that the fire was started by a kebab seller at the gas station, as is being speculated.
It will be left for the technical people to determine what exactly the cause is. In a situation when there is emergency, people troop to the area have always been one of the biggest challenges when we have emergency at hand that we want to handle. Because the second explosion was what even caused some of those people who rushed in after the first explosion. And some of them who are injured for now should not have even been injured had it not been that they rushed to the scene. So it is proper and important that in case of emergency, people should not get to the scene. They should allow us to continue to do our work.
You talked about people speculating about the cause of the fire. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, that is wrong. I saw on the social media they were saying that it was even a kebab seller who has caused that. Of course, as much as a fire from the kebab seller within the vicinity could cause it, but there are other indicators that you need to look at. You need to determine the distance of the kebab seller. You need to determine the velocity of the wind, the direction of the wind, the concentration of the gas, and then to know if really indeed that gas could cause it. So having a kebab seller just around is not enough for anybody to conclude on that.
So at this moment we should stop discussing.
People should stop discussing the causes of the fire. We are investigating. By the close of this week, we'll definitely come up with what exactly caused it.
But usually when investigations like this take place, we don't get to see the report. June 3 has been there 2 years. No one knows the exact cause of it. So it will leave people to speculate.
Well, definitely the report will be submitted to our sector minister, the interior minister, and I believe strongly that he's going to let the media know of it. He will not keep it. I know he would definitely inform the media about the cause of it.
How sure are we if June 3, which was one of the major disasters we suffered?
And I'm giving the assurance because I know he will do that.
Now, the driver and his mates, the mates of the gas tanker that caused the Atomic Junction explosion on Saturday are at large as we speak. Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampoli, says the police are on the lookout for the two to assist in investigations. The explosion, as you may know by now, occurred when gas was set ablaze after it leaked into the atmosphere during a discharge. Mr. Tampoli also revealed that the NPA had queried the Mansco gas filling station for not keeping their station according to NPA regulations. He was speaking exclusively to JoyNews.
The preliminary investigations still underway, and Ghana Fire Service is leading the investigations. But the information that we have received at the scene of the accident is that there are two conflicting information. The first says that there was a problem with the pump during discharge when the bulk road vehicle was at the station to discharge the products into their tank. And the other said that it's as a result of a problem with the breakaway coupling. Now, either way, what we do know for sure is that the accident occurred when there was a discharge at the forecourt. Now, there's no dispute about that. In May, there was another explosion at the Gamco in Takoradi, also during discharge. In December 2016, there was gas explosion again at the trade fair site, in which about 9 people lost their lives, also during discharge. In Asokwa, there was also discharge error. There was another one in Suntreso, also in Kumasi, discharge error. Another occurred in Kokode, also in Kumasi, also attributed to discharge error. Now, what that tells me is that there is failure in training as far as the drivers and the mates are concerned. Normally, they are the ones that do the discharge. And the other thing is that when in the course of the discharge, they come to the realization that there is some leakage, the next best thing that they do is to take to their heels, instead of at the very least closing the valve and then calling for assistance in order for them to be able to take care of the error that has occurred.
Is that what happened here at Atomic?
As a matter of fact, that is the information. As soon as they got wind of the fact that there was some leakage, they took to their heels and then started informing the people around to also take to their heels. So that is the preliminary information that we have received. So the gas was still leaking. Now, unlike petrol, which will be at the same spots waiting for a spark, gas will be traveling around looking for a spark in order to explode. So this is what happened, and the information that we have received was that there was a kebab seller across the street. So naturally, when the gas traveled, now we can't confirm whether that is the natural sequence of events or not, but that is the preliminary information that we have received. Now, naturally, when fire comes into contact with gas under those circumstances.
According to Hassan Tampoli, the drivers should have been certified in proper handling of the gas and the tanker, even in the case of a leakage.
Now we haven't been able to establish contact with them. We've been speaking to those who can assist us to get in touch with them, and so far we haven't been successful.
Now, you mentioned that there is a requirement for drivers of such vehicles to be properly trained on how to do the offloading. Were this driver and his mate, were they properly trained?
Now, here's what happens. The training regime, when you bring your truck for renewal of your license, you have to attach all the necessary documentation, including training certificate, fire training certificates from the fire service of all your staff. You also have to indicate whether they have undergone any training during the period under review in order to qualify them to get, for your station itself to be given a license, or for the truck itself to be on the road. So the driver has to be qualified. The vehicle itself has to meet DVLA specifications before it can be accepted to do discharge under the auspices of the MPA.
So who regulates that? Who ensures that a driver and his mate have got the proper training in order for the company to be able to do this kind of work?
Those are licensing requirements when under the DVLA regulations and law. So they have to meet the DVLA requirement to be able to drive vehicles of a certain type. You know, you have drivers who should qualify to operate caterpillars, articulated trucks, LPG. So they have their own mechanisms.